Just before we begin, I want to tell you about our live classes that are coming. We're about to do a series of IELTS writing and reading masterclasses. These will be, if you're a paid member, you will already get full access to these, but they'll be in this live format. There'll be 5 different teachers. I'll be one of them. What we're going to do is this. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we're going to do academic writing task 1. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, after academic writing task 1, we'll do writing task 2 for both general and academic. We'll also do general writing task 1 and reading. So if you're an E2 language member, free or paid, you're about to receive an email from us, if you're free, asking you to sign up so you can join these live classes. And if you're paid, you'll automatically join. In addition to the live classes with me as your teacher, for example, you'll also get a PDF workbook that you'll print out and bring to class. And what I want to do is simulate the exam experience. I want to put you in a position of how it is on test day. I want you to feel the pressure and the intensity of what it's like to write one of these descriptions in 20 minutes or write an essay in 40 minutes. Of course, we'll help you, we'll guide you along the way. So that's going to be cool. So look out for those emails. Right, what are we going to do tonight though? We're going to do IELTS Academic Writing Task 1 and we're going to look at multiple tables. In fact, we're not going to start just yet because I have to get my little drawing tool up. Just give me 1 second to do this. And the computer's thinking of what to do. Come on, computer, stop thinking. I want that. Yeah, does it work? Okay, just bear with me. I've lost my little drawing tool. Where are you? Okay, that's not working. Open. There it is, there it is, there it is. And just so you can stop looking at my funny face, just bear with me while I get my pen out. Red, and we'll go for, that's a bit thick. Let me change it. That's better. Okay, now we're ready to go. Sorry for the delay. Hello, everybody. My name is Jay. I'm one of the expert IELTS teachers here at E2 Language. In this class, we're going to look at IELTS Academic Writing Task 1. We're going to look at multiple tables, which I really hope that this is not what you have to look at on test day, because this is tough, but this is also very possible. You may be faced with 3 tables like this. Don't go anywhere. Let's write this together. I'm going to show you how to write a really nicely structured response on 3 tables, okay? Last time we looked at 3 line graphs. This time we'll look at 3 tables. So get out a pen and a piece of paper. We're going to write 150 words. We'll do it together, okay? Cool. So the mission is to write a well-structured, relevant, and high-scoring task 1. Here's a description. So the description says, the tables below show the value of Australia's trade with China, the USA, and Japan from 2012 to 2015 in billions of Australian dollars. Let's read it again, because on test day, you're going to have to read this twice, 3 times. Make sure that you fully understand what that description says about what those graphs are about. The tables below show the value of Australia's trade with China, the USA, and Japan from 2012 to 2015 in billions of Australian dollars. We'll get to that in a little bit. Summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features and make comparisons where relevant. Let's look at the structure. Okay, before we do that, we need to understand what we're looking at. So trade with China, trade with the USA, trade with Japan. So they're separated into 3 tables according to trade with each country. Okay, in this column we have imports. You can see imports for China, for example. Let's go through them. Chinese imports went from 2.5 to 4 to 1.75 to 2.75. There's also the years here, okay, increasing. Okay, fine. Then we have exports, fine. Then we have the years, and so we can look at 2012 imports and exports, 2013 imports and exports, 14, 15, etc. Let's go back though. I want you just to spend 30 seconds understanding these tables. It's a critical first step. All right, let's go through now. Come on, let me go through. Cool. So I think there's sort of two structures actually. I used to teach one structure for everything, but I tell you what, for 3 graphs, I think we need to change it a little bit. So like last week or the week before, we're going to do a different structure because we're not looking at 2 graphs or 2 pie charts or 2 tables. We're looking at 3. And so the other structure doesn't quite work. We need a different structure. The different structure is going to be this. We're going to still write our summary sentence. Okay, that's easy. We'll stick with that. That's fine. But we're going to have 3 paragraphs. Okay. First paragraph will contain both the description and the comparison of China. The second paragraph will contain both the description and comparison of the USA, and we'll do the same for Japan. So we're actually combining the description and the comparison. What we used to do was write this first, and then we have a separate paragraph where we compared all of the data. But having 3 countries, it's just too much, okay? So this is what it's going to look like on test day on your piece of paper. We're going to have the summary. Then we're going to have a paragraph about China, about the USA and Japan. No, it doesn't really matter. You could switch the order of these. There's no real reason why we have to order it like that. But importantly, we're going to have an opening single sentence which describes in general. Then from here to here, we get into the specifics and we start to compare, okay? So I'm going to show you how to do this. First things first though, we need to write a summary. So what I want you to do is to rewrite this description in your own words to say the same thing. You have 3 minutes. All right, how did you go, by the way? Cool. All right. I don't know why, but there's only 5 people on YouTube. That's terrible. If you're watching this on YouTube now, please give me a thumbs up just to make myself feel a bit better. The given data represents the worth of Australian trade with China, the United States, and Japan for 3 years in billions of Australian dollars in Australia. Okay, billions of Australian dollars. Sometimes when you need to rewrite something, sometimes you just cannot, and you have to take it directly. So Australian dollars, there's no other way to say that, I don't think. Good. The table shows the statistics of Australia's trade with China, the US, and Japan for the years 2012 to 2015 in billions of Australian dollars. These tables depict Australia's international trade with countries such as China, the US, and Japan in billions of Australian dollars between 2012 and 2015. These are looking really nice. Well done. One more. The given tables represent the amount of import and export. Okay, what about the given tables represent the imports and exports of Australia's trade with the USA, Japan, and China over the 3-year period between 2012 and 2015. They're looking really nice. Well done. Let's move on though, because that's kind of the easy bit. But let me read you mine first. Mine says this. The 3 tables represent Australia's trade in terms of imports and exports. So I put this little section in here, and I use commas in terms of imports and exports with China, the USA, and Japan over a 4-year period. I actually wrote a second sentence and said the units are measured in billions of Australian dollars. Okay, so that's fine. You can actually start a second sentence and talk about the measurement. For example, the units are measured in milliliters, the units are measured in kilograms, the units are measured in billions of dollars, etc. Fine, let's talk about China. So what we want to do is this. We want to describe the general trends in one sentence and then describe/compare imports and exports in 2 to 4 sentences. Okay, so here's trade with China. Let's think about it. Let me talk you through this. So we want a general overview sentence. So what I want you to look at first is imports. What did imports do from 2012 to 2015? Well, they sort of started here. They went up, then right down, and then like that. So I don't know what you would call that. I'd call that a fluctuation, right? Fine. So imports fluctuated. We can say that. Okay, fine. Now let's have a think about exports. Okay, so we want to look here. What did exports do? Well, they started at 4, and then they went down. Okay, and then they went down again, and then they went down again. Okay, so what did exports do? Well, exports declined or decreased. Okay, fine. So now we need a single sentence that combines those 2 pieces of information. One about imports fluctuating, and one about exports declining. So after that, I want you to write the whole thing. I'm going to give you 5 minutes. Then after you've written your introductory or your description sentence, I then want you to compare. I don't want you to compare this way. I don't want you to compare imports and exports. It's a bit misleading. I actually want you to describe what happened to imports more specifically over the 4 years. Then I want you to talk about exports more specifically over the 4 years. I'll give you 5 minutes. How's it going, by the way? It's okay. Uh-oh, something's going on in the chat there. Okay, good, nice. So Akashita, you need to include data. You need to include numbers, years, billions of dollars, how much it increased, decreased. We're doing both in this paragraph. We want to have a general description of the trends, okay, whether it fluctuated or decreased or increased. But then we get into detail and we say, in fact, in 2012, imports were $2 billion. They increased by $1 billion before plateauing at whatever, okay? Fine. Now the chat's gone strange. I don't know what you're seeing, but I'm seeing strange things. So during this period of time, Australia's imports from China, good, fluctuated, while exports from China into Australia, exports from Australia into China declined dramatically. Good, that's fine. In 2012, imports to China accounted for $2.5 billion. Thereafter, it reached a high of $4 billion in 2013 and a low of $1.75 billion in the following year. By 2015, it increased to $2.75 billion. That's exactly what you have to do. Well done, whoever did that. That's exactly what you have to do. What I'll do is I'm just going to read you mine. So let's read this. This is what I wrote. Now, by the way, we spent 3 minutes here. We spent 5 minutes here. We're going to spend 5 minutes here and 5 minutes here. 15, 16, 17, 18. We spend about 2 minutes understanding the question prompt. That's 20 minutes in total, okay? So if you didn't finish, you need to write more quickly. Let me read you mine. Imports from China fluctuated substantially while exports decreased consistently year on year, okay? So I've got my two things that I've said here. I've said imports fluctuated, exports decreased, okay? So that's cool. Now I move into a detailed description and comparison. Over the 4 years, imports rose from $2.5 billion to $4 billion before decreasing significantly in 2014 to $1.75 billion and settling at $2.75 billion. By contrast, exports dropped substantially in the first year by $1.25 billion and then less so by $0.25 billion and then by a further $0.5 billion. So what I've done, in fact, is a little bit different. I've subtracted and worked out by how much it decreased. You can do that if you want as well. But it's just two things going on there, a general description, and then I've compared imports and exports year on year. If you're on YouTube and you're liking what you see, please click like, leave a comment, subscribe, and share this with your friends so they can pass their IELTS as soon as possible. USA, let's do the USA. General trends, same thing, okay? This is the USA here. Let's just do it. I think you can do it. 5 minutes. Okie dokie, let's have a look. How did you go? As I said, each paragraph, you're going to write 3 paragraphs. Each paragraph you can write in 5. If you can write it in 5 minutes or less, that's a good thing. So here we go. With regards to Australia's trade with the USA, comma, both imports and exports declined, but exports were more steady. Great. In 2012, imports, which started high with $7 billion, decreased by $0.5 billion by the following year. By 2015, it declined to $4.75 billion. Likewise, exports remained the same at 3.75 billion in the first 2 years, but fell by 0.5 billion in 2014 and a further 0.25 billion in 2015. Joy, that's really, really good. Well done. Really strong. Really strong. Good. You used the subtraction technique as well, so that worked really well. Excellent. Good. How did you go writing that in 5 minutes? Just type in yes if you wrote your paragraph in under 5 minutes. Vashid, yes. Joy did it. Good. Nice, nice, nice. All right, cool. Good. Nice. Let's write one more. I should say on test day, it's look, all I can say is doing practice like this when you're actually putting pen to paper and you're timed and knowing how quickly that time moves and knowing how quickly you need to write in order to reach that word count in 20 minutes. It's good practice. It's great practice. Well done. Cool. Oops, here's mine. I don't know why I didn't highlight it all red. It should say, mine says this, trade with the USA declined slightly with imports decreasing more than exports, which remain quite stable. In particular, imports dropped quite consistently from 7 billion in 2012 to 4.75 billion in 2015. While exports were stable in 2012 and 2013, they then decreased to $3 billion by 2015. Cool, you guys write something different. Let's do Japan. Same thing. Here's Japan. You have 5 minutes. Okie dokie. How'd you go with this one? It's much of a muchness. Once you work out how to do it, it's fine. It's the first one's the most difficult. Then you're like, okay, I've got this pattern. I can do it for the next one and the next one. Cool. With regards to Australia's trade with Japan, comma, imports experienced a slight decrease before increasing, then plateauing. New sentence, exports fell slightly over the period. In 2012, exports decreased from don't make your introductory sentence, that description of the trends, too long. It just has to be very short and just say, exports fluctuated while imports declined, whatever, okay? Then you get specific because it's the details that will take up your time. And remember that introductory sentence, that description sentence, yeah, it just needs to be simple and quite short. That's fine, like a two-sided sentence, like while imports fluctuated, exports declined, whatever. Cool, I'll just read one out. Imports which Australia made with Japan, or imports which Australia, you could say Japanese imports might be a more concise way to say that. Japanese imports increased throughout the years, whereas the exports between Australia and Japan decreased slightly. Good. Now we get specific. Australian imports with Japan declined from 4.25 billion in 2012 to 3.75 in 2013 before sharply rising to 5.75 in 2015. Good. In contrast to imports, the exports made by Australia with Japan decreased throughout the years. That's fine. You also need to add some data in there as well. You could, if you're running out of time, you could just say imports decreased from X in 2012 to Y in 2015. And you don't need to go through all the years. You can just shorten it like that as well if you're running out of time, or yeah, especially running out of time is the big one. Good, that's fine, that's fine. Okay, so here's my sentences. Overall, Japanese imports fluctuated before increasing while exports declined markedly. More specifically, imports decreased in 2013 before rising to a high of 5.75 billion in 2015. In contrast, exports gradually declined from 2.75 billion in 2012 to 1.5 billion in 2015. You can see that I missed on purpose. I skipped the 3 years in between. I just went from 2012 to 2015 because it was just a decline. I said, this is where it started. This is where it ended in 2015. It was just a decline. With fluctuations, it's a bit different because you say, okay, it started here, it rose, it fell, it rose, it fell. But if you get a straight decline, you can say, 2012 here, 2015 here. That makes it a bit easier. And this is still 171 words. I think what I've realized anyway is if you try to describe everything, you're going to get yourself into trouble because it's just going to be too dense. It's going to be too many words. It's going to take up too much of your precious 60 minutes. So don't try and do every 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, 2012. No, just do that for some of them, especially the fluctuations, but any increases or decreases, just do from first beginning to end. Yes, you don't need to describe everything in detail. In fact, in the instructions, it says select and report the main features. So they don't expect you to either. Cool. All right. So let's just recap. So if you see on test day 3 tables, I want you to use this structure. Summarize, describe and compare table 1, describe and compare table 2, describe and compare table 3. If you see 2 tables, then that's a different structure. That's the structure that I've been teaching, which you can see in the videos up here, where you do summarize, overall description of the 2 tables, and then the comparison of the 2 tables. But it doesn't work for 3 tables or 3 pie charts or 3 line graphs, for example. So there's sort of 2 structures. Anyway, I'm going to get into those in the, I'll update the course. By the way, if you're interested in joining those live classes, let me get to that slide. Join the live classes with e2language.com. We're going to run some master classes starting next week on Monday the 6th until the 10th. I should get those dates right. Anyway, next week, Monday to Friday, every night of the week, academic writing task 1, writing task 2 for both, and general writing task 1, as well as we're going to go through the tricky reading questions together. So if you're a free member, become a paid member. Even just the budget package, you'll receive an invitation to join those intensive masterclasses. All you paid members out there, you will receive it anyway. So that's cool. That's fine. That'll be nice. Along with the invitation and the live classes, you'll get a downloadable PDF that I want you to print out, because I want you to have the experience of writing on the answer sheet. There's a lot of psychology involved in this test. Yeah, so I want to put you under that pressure. Anyway, now I'll do a quick Q&A before I go home and read my book and go to bed. So if you have any questions, please put them into the chat. Jay, please tell me how I make comparison. If I will have a diagram. Oh, great question. Great question. Diagrams, if you get a process, right? Like, I don't know, how to make paper, right? So the first picture's like the forest, the second picture's like the birds flying out of the trees because the trees are gonna get cut down, whatever. You've got this process of making and recycling paper, for example. How do you compare it? There's nothing to compare, actually. And I think this is a flaw in the IELTS test. It's not a comparison. It's a description of the process itself. That's where you use the language like firstly, secondly, thirdly, next, after that, subsequently, finally. That's when you use those discourse markers. And what you do is you break it into two halves. So the first half of the process, you'll still have the summary sentence. The process below illustrates how trees are made into paper and then recycled back into paper, right? Fine, so you rewrite that, you have the summary. Then you look at the diagram, the process, and it might have 10 steps, okay? So you separate the first 5 steps into one paragraph. You separate the second last 5 steps, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 into the second paragraph. You split it up and you just describe the steps. Firstly, the trees are cut down by the loggers, and are then fed into the sawmill, whatever it is, okay? That's how you do that. Good question. Basma Safar, which one of the packages is best for me? Please send us an email to hello@e2language.com. Tell us about your background, how many tests you've taken, how long you've studied English, when your test date is. We will recommend you a package, okay? Can free members also do these online masterclasses? No, you'll need to buy a budget package. What time are these online masterclasses? They're between 6 p.m. and 10 p.m. Melbourne time, which I think is about, what's that? That's like, I think it's about India's 4 hours in front or 4 hours behind. So I think that's about 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Indian Standard Time, 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Cool. I realize that I've written 225 for this task. Would I rather limit my words and be more brief? Yes, just make sure you don't go over. Try not to spend more than 20 minutes because your essay is worth twice as many marks, Joelle. Good question, though. But that's a good sign. That's a good sign. And again, don't try to describe every single detail. Some of it you can sort of collapse into a sentence, for example. How do we get the PDF for the online class? I'll email it to you, Wilson. So you're good because you're a paid member. So I'll send out an email tomorrow or the next day. How long will be 2 to 6? So each masterclass will go for an hour. Monday, line graphs. Tuesday, pie charts. Wednesday, tables, etc. Jay, I'm from Japan. This is my first time in planning to get the platinum. Cool. You're from Japan and your name is Lorenza Agostina Castro. That's interesting. Anand, what is your recent IELTS score? I was waiting for somebody to ask me this. I'm not going to say because I'm going to send it back for a review. Let me tell you this. I am beginning to think, should I say this or not? I'm beginning to think that IELTS writing is not marked properly. I can honestly tell you that I wrote a phenomenal essay. I wrote about 290 words. It was word perfect, grammar perfect, vocabulary perfect, right on topic, and the structure was excellent. My writing task 1 was good. It wasn't great because I don't think the structure was right. As I said, I got 3 line graphs and I tried to use the other structure and it didn't quite work. That's why I've started teaching this new structure. So maybe from writing task 1, I think my coherence and cohesion, the 3rd criteria, would have decreased a little bit. But still I had perfect vocabulary, perfect grammar, and it was right on topic. The IELTS gave me a writing score that was, I don't know. Sometimes I think they mark these things, they throw them up in the air and they just go, that'll be a 6, that'll be a 5, that'll be a 7, that'll be an 8. I don't get it. I really don't get it. Anyway, so I'm sending it back to them and I'll let you know once I get my review because, oh man, I took the PTE and got 90, 90, 90, 90, right? It's kind of, I tell you what's bad because it hasn't just happened to me. It's happened to a lot of people who are excellent writers who deserve to get probably a 9 or at least an 8.5. It happens quite often, in fact. I've got so many stories. Yeah. So it happens to the best of us, but don't worry. I'm gonna keep doing this thing. I'm gonna work out how to get a 9. Okay? Should I promise? Because I don't even know if it's possible. I promise that I'll keep trying. I can't promise that I'll give a 9 because I don't think the IELTS ever give 9s. I don't even think it's possible. It's a crazy, crazy exam. Anyway, yeah. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Thanks for coming. I appreciate it. I hope you learned something. I hope you can get the score that you want. All right. I'll see you soon. Remember to keep an eye out for those masterclasses. If you're not a free member on E2 Language, do sign up so you receive an email from us so we can tell you about it, okay? Do you think it's possible to get 8s, says Joyelle. Yeah. Is it it's not that, how can I say this? Look, there are different tests for different things, okay? So what I've found is PT is definitely easier for writing. PT is harder for speaking. IELTS is easy for speaking. IELTS is really hard for writing. TOEFL is just a good test all round. It works really well. OET, if you're a nurse or a doctor or something, good test, tricky for reading in particular. Yeah. Too embarrassed. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for coming.